Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Linda, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm super excited.
Sure, it's my absolute pleasure. I'm very excited to chat with you. And
awesome.
I would love to start off with talking about fire eating. So I'm gonna get like deep into your career, but I just happened to watch a Vimeo show or a clip about you eating fire and then spinning around upside down in a cube with fire also like shooting off of it on sticks.
It was toasty.
I could definitely imagine. And you were dressed as the evil queen. So what got you into fire eating and wanting to get into more circus acrobatic type of environments like that? And how long have you been doing all that?
Sure. Well, circus itself I've been doing since early 2011. And honestly, I've just been looking for, I really enjoy athletic things. I had trained in martial arts for many, many years and was looking for something else athletic to do. And I've always, being a marketer, I've always also gravitated towards creative stuff and performing arts and so forth. So this was like, circus is the perfect combination of both. You get the athletic side of things and you get the creative side of things. So it really spoke to me. And I started out obviously doing a lot of the aerial stuff, and in the course of doing circus, you acquire a lot of circus friends. And
Right.
You see your circus friends doing things like eating fire.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I got to try that. That looks really cool. I just seen some of my friends doing some really cool things and with fire, and that's what kind of sparked my interest. No pun intended, actually. And fire eating and fire painting sort of went together, and that was the thing that just sort of intrigued me because I've always found it really cool to watch, like who would put fire in their mouth.
Yeah.
And I figured,
what's fire painting?
Painting is.
Are you like swallowing kerosene and like spitting fire at something?
Oh no,
Oh.
that's different. That's
different.
fire
Okay.
breathing.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't tried that one yet. I'm not opposed to it, but I haven't tried that one. I think that one is a little easier to get wrong and can be pretty dangerous. So, that one I haven't tried yet. Fire painting is where you're literally taking your sticks that are dipped in gas and you're basically painting your skin with it, and then you're painting like a trail of fire.
What? Wow.
And that's actually where you start before the eating.
So before you put it in your mouth, you put it on your body first. Okay.
Yes.
So how do you train for something like this? And I'm coming from this from completely like excited and bewildered type of angle on this, because I have watched people do this. Like fire eating, because I live in Salem, Massachusetts, and every October, Halloween is huge around here, and a few of my like up the road from me, there's a street that's known for like where everybody goes, and they always have like fire eaters and fire breathers on the street, like performing, which is absolutely amazing. And yesterday, I actually watched a demonstration that David Blaine did on a TV show so that's why I brought the kerosene then. Apparently he swallowed water, and then he swallowed kerosene, and then and the kerosene was sitting on top of the water, and he was able to like spit fire out and light something on fire, and then wait a second, and then put it out like right after that. Which I think may be a little bit different from what you're working on, but I find all of that completely fascinating. So what was the process like to learn to eat fire? Like, is it a mental thing, like mostly, or actual like a physical thing?
I would say a lot of it is mental, because you have to get over the idea of I'm touching fire to my skin and I'm putting fire in my mouth.
Yeah.
That's the big part for most people. There's some technique to it, but I don't think it's so complicated. Like I took a workshop in fire painting and fire eating, and I think it was a 3-part workshop, maybe 2 hours each, an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And the first session that we had was really about the painting. Mm-hmm. So it's getting used to, first of all, having a healthy respect for the fire and getting used to the feel of fire, because it does hurt. I mean, yeah, there's technique to it, but there's no like trick that it doesn't hurt at all.
Okay, so it always hurts? Or you feel it anyway, like no matter what happens, you feel like it's obvious that you're doing something with fire and you can feel it. It's not like a no sensation thing.
No, it's not no sensation. You feel it. So when you touch it to your skin, it's kind of like if someone took a rubber band and slapped it on your skin pretty hard. It's kind of like that. Okay. It's like a little bit of a sting. Obviously you don't leave. So we started with the inside of our forearm and doing the fire there, because you also, if you have hair on your arm, it's going to burn the hair and it smells so good. So we started with the insides of our arms and having like the trail of fire there, and our hands as well. Like you feel it a little bit less on your hand if you're holding it, for example, in the palm of your hand, and literally your hand will just be on fire for like a couple seconds and you'll blow it out. You feel it a little more on your forearm when it's going down the arm. You'll start to see, at least for me, I would start after a few times, I would see like little red trails, kind of little red marks down my arm where the fire had been, but it was never like really burned or no like lasting problems or anything. It's just, you have to be okay with that little bit of pain and just the idea that you're kind of setting yourself on fire.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating. So do you also, at least in the video I watched, you did the fire eating first and then you got into the cube. Do you ever do both simultaneously? Like while you're spinning in the air in a cube, also like eat fire at the same time? Is that a thing?
That I haven't tried. I haven't seen that. Not to say that someone hasn't tried that. Okay. The challenge is though, when you're spinning, obviously it'll blow the fire around. So you have to be like really careful when you're putting the fire in your mouth. You have to be careful about wind. Ideally, you have no wind whatsoever, so that when you're directing it into your mouth, you're not like, it's not blowing into your hair or something like that.
Right. Wow. Okay.
So, and generally, like, you want to like take a big breath in, and then as you're guiding the fire into your mouth, then you're kind of like creating an O shape with your mouth to kind of cut off the oxygen, and will put the fire out, and then you can exhale a little bit too. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay, cool. Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. Okay, so I'm curious on how this kind of relates to other things that you've done. So you studied French in undergrad and then global marketing at Emerson. So what gravitated you to study French?
Sometimes I wonder that myself. So my dad actually comes from Portugal, and back in the days that I was raised, it was, if you weren't first generation American to this country, you wanted to raise your kids to speak without an accent. So unfortunately, he never taught me Portuguese. But for me, I would hear the language, because my grandparents and cousins, who I didn't see that often, would speak Portuguese. And it was almost like kind of a secret code. So I found language really interesting. And I grew up on the Canadian border in upstate New York on a dairy farm, actually. And so we had a little bit of French in school, and I just really enjoyed it because it was like a code to me. So I started to spend more time learning French. And when I was getting ready to go into school, I had asked a guidance counselor. I didn't really know exactly what it was that I wanted to do. And so someone had just advised me, well, what do you enjoy? And I enjoyed French, and I enjoyed meeting different people and learning about different cultures. So that's what I ended up going into school for. And I majored in French with a minor in Spanish, and I studied Italian and a little bit of Portuguese. And I've even studied a little bit of Japanese and German, but don't quiz me because I will be bad at all those right now. Except for my French is decent. I was fluent at one point. I'm a little bit rusty, but I would be fluent again in a couple of weeks. But,
Sure.
yeah, that's kind of how I ended up going into languages. I don't know that I would have, if I were to do it again, knowing what I know as, a professional, I probably would have chosen something, slightly different, for my degree, but it's worked out for me.
Okay, sure. And then what made you want to transition from languages to marketing, particularly at marketing at Emerson in Boston?
So it actually brought together two things that I really enjoyed. As part of studying French and at UMass, I wanted to go for a certificate in, I can't remember what it was called, like French marketing or something like that.
Okay.
It was basically international business. So I had to take a couple marketing courses to get that certificate. And when I took it, marketing just clicked with me. It was one of those things, like an accidental discovery. And I realized, wow, I just really enjoy it, and it really makes sense to me. And somehow I was good at it. So I figured, but I didn't have a formal degree in it, which makes it difficult for your first step out of college. My first job actually was teaching French and Spanish, but I knew that I wanted to get into the international business side. So I taught for a year, and then I found Emerson's program for global marketing. And actually I did the program that was located in Belgium, because I figured if you're going to study international marketing, you shouldn't do it from here in the U.S. Let me go somewhere more international. In Belgium, like Brussels is a perfect example, because you've got NATO and UN, and it's just so multicultural there. So that's why I ended up doing that program specifically. It really brought together two things I really enjoyed, and it gave me an advanced degree on the business side, which was important because I really wanted to go into the international business side of things.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. So then when you finished the program at Emerson, what was your first few jobs like in the industry?
So my first job was actually working for an IT services provider in marketing. It was a pretty new company. It was about 3 years old, but it was cash flow positive, which was good. And they hadn't had a marketing person before. And actually, they didn't even really hire me as their marketing person. I was temping because when I moved back, I didn't really have a place to go, and I was engaged at the time, and my ex-fiance was going to grad school in Pittsburgh. So I figured, you know what, I need to get a job somewhere. Might as well be Pittsburgh. Did a little bit of temping, and this one company that I had temped for was looking for a sales coordinator, and they were like, hey, you're smart. So do you want a job here? This is what it is. Yeah. And I started doing that, and eventually weaseled that into a full-blown marketing position, which they had never had. And they were really happy with me. And that was the start of my marketing career. And that also got me started down the path of tech startups.
Okay, excellent. So at some point, you then start your own company, 42 Muses. Why did you decide to branch off on your own as opposed to working or to continually keep going from like tech startup to tech startup?
Well, I mean, I have still worked for quite a few tech startups, but as you spend more time in the business, you just make a lot of good connections. And I just had a lot of people asking me to do work for them. And for a lot of them, it was, not necessarily even a full-time position that they had so much as, hey, I really need help on this one project, and we've worked together, and I know you and I like you, and can you help me with this? Okay. So I sort of got pulled into it that way, just because, I just had so many requests coming in. So that's how I started down that path.
Okay.